पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन हृदियां पुराणमिमा मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणी भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ततामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे तुल्यारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाण्डे ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृततुले नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दन पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं तं सचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्रामवती कृपेणवाणी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणवी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः एतीयमानम् मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजम् परिमल तद्वंशिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः शृण्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगा। ध्यानावस्थितदद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यात्मन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Just here, then voice will be better than that.
Then we have 257. I made a mistake. Meenakshi ji has this week is next week. So we have 7. Next week is a challenge. We have 9. So we have to try and finish.
Don't keep so close to me.
No, no. No, it's in the speak.
I pronounce to the lotus feet of the Lord and I pronounce gently. So I'll be doing the 9th chapter, first section, first to 10 slokas. The title of this chapter is Raja Vidya, Raja Vidya Yoga. The first 3 verses are basically the introduction, wherein Bhagavan glorifies the superior knowledge of the real nature of the Lord or the Paramatma Swarupa. So in the first verse, the Lord says, Arjuna, I will give you this highest knowledge, after knowing which you will get away with all the obstacles of this samsara. And he also says that you are the right candidate with the quality of Anusuya. Hence, I would impart this knowledge to you. The second verse, Bhagavan further glorifies this knowledge by the words Raja Vidya, Raja Gukhyam, Pavitram, Uttamam, etc. So it is called as Raja Vidya, or the greatest knowledge, because it was followed by the great Raja Rishis, as we saw in the 4th chapter, 1st and 2nd verses. And also, any other worldly knowledge is incomplete without this highest knowledge. Raja Guhyam means highest secret, because only very few get to know this knowledge, and out of them, only very few will assimilate and make use of this knowledge. And Pavitram and Uttamam are again like Uttamam is supreme, Pavitram is the purest of the pure knowledge, which purifies our Malam, Vikshepam, etc., the impurities of the mind. So the reference is 438. And give the word version. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. The third sloka, Bhagavan says, because of inherent ignorance, people don't come to this path, and they fall into the way to understand my real nature, and they see me as a mere human form. So they don't come to me and eternally get caught in the cycle of birth and death, of Mrityu Samsara. And verses 4 to 10 are about the Ishvara Swarupam, or the real nature of the Lord. The 4th sloka, 3 features are talked about. First one is Avyakta Murtinaha. Avyakta means which is not available to the perception of the sense organs. Next one is Jagat Adhishtanam. He is the sustainer of this entire universe. Next one is Vishwadharam. He is the supporter of the whole world, and the universe is supported and sustained by his mere presence. The 5th one is Bhagavan says that though the entire creation is supported and sustained by me, I am not dependent on anything at any time. Na Matstani means not sustained. I am not sustained by them, or I am not supported by them, in other words. And I am not touched by any of them. In the words of Swami Paramartha, he says he is the supportless support. He is totally independent and pure consciousness principle. This is the Paramarthika Satyam. And this, we have few examples which Raviji gave, gold and ornaments. Like the ornaments are always dependent on the gold. Ornaments can be made only out of the gold, but gold can exist independently. Waves and water, waves and ocean, etc. And the 6th verse, Bhagavan's Asanga Swarupam is talked about in the 6th verse. Asanga means which is not affected by anything at any time, just like the space and the wind. They are not affected by the good or evil, or any smell, good smell or bad smell, whatever. It is not affected, but it transcends everything. And another example is like TV screen, Asanga. So the TV screen of the TV is not affected by the movie or whatever goes on the screen. Sloka 7, the Lord says, I am the pure consciousness principle, ever pervading, with the nature of Achala and Nirvikara Swarupam. Achala Swarupam and Nirvikara Swarupam. But only the creation continues to change. He is the Jagat Karanam. All the objects of creation go through 2 avasthas, Vyakta and Avyakta avasthas. When the Pralayam occurs, all the entire universe goes into an unmanifest state at the end of one kalpa. And Krishna calls it as a Prakriti or Maya. So, and at the beginning of the next kalpa, he brings them to existence with the help of the Maya. And we have to understand that even Prakriti gets existence only from the Arupa Ishvara. So, he is Jagat Karana Swarupa. 8th slokam, so with the help of Prakriti, he says, I give the living beings the next birth. During the Pralaya Kalam, they are lost in their nature, and hence I make them go through this cycle according to their karma phala. So, Puna Puna Visrajami, beginningless and endless process of birth and death. And the nature of Prakriti is to, work like this. It is just its own mere nature, and it is the Upadhi or the medium of operation. And Bhagavan is the master. So, whereas in the case of Jivatma, Prakriti is the master, and we are the slaves. We are enslaved by the Prakriti. And 9th sloka, Lord says that I use Maya, but I am not enslaved or controlled by that. So that word Udasina Vata Asina. I am detached from all the karmas, though the world says that I am the Karta. I don't claim to be the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karta. nor am I bound by the results of such process. So, Bhagavan's Akartrutvam and Abhoktrutva Swarupam are given in this 9th verse. 9th and 10th, and in the 10th one, he says, I do not do any action, and in my mere presence, the Prakriti evolves into the Prapancha, and the Prapancha evolves into Prakriti. And he says that it's the very nature, and it is not done by the mere will of mind. So, for example, the fire does not do any action, but its nature is the heat. The presence of heat is there, and when we get our fingers burnt, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the fire. It has its own nature. So, just like that, it is not the will, but the Prakriti acting in my mere presence. Thus, he uses the term Maya Adhyakshena, which means acting without any will or partiality. So, the Prakriti in my mere presence gets activated without my will. So, to sum up, the whole universe is born, not only born by my presence, but also it continues to sustain only by my presence. So, I am the Vivartaka, he is the Vivarta Karana, and everything is according to the law of karma.
I am doing the second portion of the chapter 9 from verse 11 to 21. This verse from 11 to 21 actually explains Bhakti and Ishvara Swarupam in some parts, and Sakama Bhakti Phalam. Sakama Bhaktas are also being explained, and the Phalam, what they get. So he starts off by explaining the Abhaktas or the non-believers or the atheists. He calls them first of all foolish. He gives a very strong word by calling them foolish. He says they do not understand him in his whole, like they do not understand his infinite nature at all, and they have a very strong body-mind identification. They don't think beyond their selfishness. And he also says by not understanding his whole nature as both para and apara, actually he says they are disrespecting him by not understanding him in his whole nature. And then going on to 12, in verse 12, he says that they are possessed with rajasic and tamasic gunas, and this actually gives them an erroneous knowledge, which results in a chain of consequences, which results in deluded desires and actions. The actions which are futile and useless, and which do not help them to take them anyway, progress in the spiritual path. So this, even we can take it on in a daily life, like whenever we are possessed with anger, jealousy, or maybe passion, the actions or the results which we actually perform are harmful both to us as well as to others. And just to bring about the contrast and bring out the point very forcefully between the abhaktas and the bhaktas, immediately he says in 13:14, he describes the bhaktas or the true jnanis who have a complete faith in him. He says these people have Daivi Prakriti or the Sattvic nature. He also calls them Mahatmas or the noble nature, as against the foolish people he calls them. He says these people understand him in totality, like in his both para and apara nature. And then in verse 14, he is explaining the qualities of these true bhaktas in fivefold ways, and actually these qualities could be sadhanas for the seekers, like us, like we can strive towards achieving this. He says these bhaktas have constantly, that's the first quality, and steadfastly with a firm resolve, second, and then they strive very hard, like they don't give up so easily, and then they have total refuge in him or total surrender into him, and is always ever integrated in him. And this is what he's explaining about the bhaktas. And in verse 15, he is giving the three types of bhaktis, or the different paths taken by people who try to attain him. First is Prakratvena, which is the Dvaita Bhava, Ekatvena, which is Advaita Bhava, and Bahuda Vishwatomukam, which is various manifestations of him, or the Vishishta Advaita. Thus he says that people try to attain him with adoration by following any path, but with total understanding. verse 16 to 19, actually he explains the infinite nature of him, or we can also call it as the Bhagavan's Vibhuti, where he carries forward from the chapter 77, where he has explained his nature. He just gives a few more examples of it. Or we can also take it as a means for us to graduate from the Dvaita Bhava to Vishwatomukam. So he gives a glimpse into the infinite nature. First he says he is the sacrifice, he is the offering, he is the Vedic hymn, then he's the herbs, whichever is given there. So in short, he says there's nothing apart from him that we can actually offer to him, but it is only the attitude or the bhava with which we offer that matters here. And then he goes on to say that in relations, he's a father, mother, grandfather, he's a sustainer, and he also brings out the point that he is also the four Vedas. So in verse 18, he says that he is the ultimate goal, the refuge. And then he wants us to actually move about the bodily identification by having an attachment to our relations, close relations, whoever it may be, like mother, father, anyway. He says he is the ultimate refuge who is selflessly with us throughout the time. So, and he says he is the origin, dissolution, and seed imperishable. In verse 19, he is saying that he is the total mind of the Hiranyagarbha, where he controls the total nature. He gives here the example of how he controls the rain, like how it is getting evaporated and the time when it has to come back on earth, where it has to come back on earth. And he's just giving an example of that. And thus he's explaining the both para and apara nature by pointing that he is the mortality, immortality, sat and asat, that is satyam and mithya. In 20 and 21st, he goes on to explain the Sakama Bhaktas. Earlier he has explained the non-Bhaktas, then the true Bhaktas. Now he is explaining the Sakama Bhaktas. He is saying these people are materially religious and they perform the ritualistic portion of the Vedas, the Purva Bhava, with sincerity. Of course, they want something, so they do it with full faith and full sincerity. So he says, I am going to grant them whatever they want. They may be asking for Indralok or Pitrulok or whatever it is, and he says, I'm going to in fact grant them, and they will really enjoy it in the sense that the pleasures they enjoy in these loks will be certainly better than the ones the life in the earth. But he cautions that one should not be distracted by this small kind of pleasure in this, because he says these people will have to come back to earth, and it is only temporary, not permanent. And once their punyam gets exhausted, they have no other go but to get back into this samsara. He says gata gatam, like there is no permanent solution, there's no moksha here, and it is just going to a place of pleasure, then coming back and falling into the same rut of the birth and death. So thus he clearly distinguishes here between the salvation and the moksha. Moksha is what is emotional dependence here and now. And this is the gist of this this second section. He goes on further to explain the Nishkama
So I just didn't get time, so I'll just read them and I'm going through what I'm section 2. Yeah, section 2. Yes. No, not that. Okay. So in this, I think from verses 11 to 21, Bhagavan is revealing his personality, his divine personality. So it's very important for us to know who Bhagavan is to love him better, right? So now we look at his Vigraham, his form, beautiful form, and that love is just like a physical attraction, or we like his qualities. But to really love and understand and assimilate, we need to know his real guna. So I think that is what is said. In any relationship also, unless and until we understand the person fully, it is not that love is incomplete. So here that incomplete is addressing that incompleteness which is there in every one of us. So whether it is relationship or any other thing, we are looking at that complete understanding of that thing. In-depth understanding of that thing makes us enjoy the thing and see and appreciate that. So he wants us to really appreciate him
in the different things that we do, see what we are seeing, what we are doing, and how our attitude should be. That is what he's explaining from 11 to 20. I may take some more time. Is it okay?
Yes, people today.
I've written a lot, so okay. So again, in verse 11, he says that unfortunately, foolish people, avivekaha, do not realize my supreme nature. They look at me as a limited being and disrespect me. Even for Arjuna, he used to consider Krishna. As of now, he is thinking him as his cousin or his friend. He's not really understood who is speaking to me. Now only in, I think, further verses where he shows his Vishwa Rupam, he is able to understand better. So as of now, he's a cousin and a friend who is speaking to him. So that is what he's saying. And many times he speaks casually to Krishna. So that also we have seen, not out of disrespect, but just general conversation. So he says that they look at me as a limited being and disrespect me. And I am the Lord of the entire creation, the Satchidananda Swarupam, and we don't realize it and consider ourselves to be limited, bound. So it is an insult to our own nature. Not knowing me is an insult to my own nature. Okay. And in verse 12, the one who doesn't comprehend one's own self, such a life is a waste, he says. He's a Vishetaha or Mohashana. So he performs all his vain actions, acquires vain wealth, acquires wasteful knowledge. Such people take refuge in the Asuri or the Mohini Prakriti of mind. And that is that most of Rajasic and the Tamasic gunas. So the Sumati and Kumati, both are there in every person. So this people rely more on the Kumati, that is the pride, anger, jealousy, fear. All these are the Asuri Prakritis which we express often. So the potential good qualities that the Sumati is also there in the seed form, that Asat form in us. So that also comes when there is some instant or circumstance, this good quality also expresses. Same Asuri as well as the good qualities. So it is on us to choose Asuri or the Devi, which Prakriti we want to follow, whether the Asuri Prakriti or the Devi Prakriti. Good company makes you choose all the Devi Prakritis, whereas if you mix with the people with Asuri Prakritis, our qualities also we lean towards the Asuri Prakriti. So Satsangam, we always lean to people who have this Devi Prakriti, so we lean towards them. In verse 13 he speaks. He speaks about now first he spoke about the Asuri Prakriti, then in the next verse he is speaking about the Devi Prakriti. People who depend on the Devi Prakriti, people who take support or lean on my Devi Prakriti, that is the Sattva qualities, control of senses, forgiveness, wisdom, faith, kindness, caring, serving, accepting. All this is Devi Sampati, which is the real wealth which one should possess. Such a person who expresses this Prakriti in everything that he sees, in all his action, is called as a Mahatma. He is not confined to a body, location or a time. And he expresses his qualities in all his action with a single pointed mind. They worship me as a self of all beings, seeing me in the entire creation, having understood me to be the imperishable source of this creation. And 14. In 14, he said that Satatam Kirtayanto. And then he uses the word Dridhavrita, strive with firm resolve. So Raviji gave the example of a person who is drowning. His whole idea is to come out and breathe. So that should be the firm resolve or the determination for being a mumukshu. That effort has to be put to become a mumukshu. So such a person who strives very hard and Satatam Kirtana, sing my glories all the time, sees me in everything. Here again the story of Hanuman, when Rama praises him, oh, you crossed the ocean and it was such a difficult thing. So he said, it is not me who crossed the ocean, it is only your glory which was expressed. So that bhavam, Satatam Kirtayantoma. With great devotion, they bow or do namaskara to me. They become more humble and the ahamkara drops. So, like they see me in the sun, river, moon, animate, inanimate things. In everything they see me and surrender to me. They constantly tune to me, serve me. Those people who lean on the Devi Prakriti. Okay. And in the Shloka 15, Mahatmas also, he explains again here only, he explains the Mahatmas are also Asuri Prakriti, but they disregard them and they surrender to me and lean on my Devi Prakriti. Devi Prakriti. They become free from samsara. They worship me with a single focus, knowing and understanding my supreme nature. Okay, in okay, so in 15 he says some others do my upasana by jnana yajna. Like we have this Gita jnana yajna, where we sacrifice our ignorance. So some of these Mahatmas, they do this jnana yajna, the knowledge of the nature of God. Jnana becomes upasana. Wisdom gives the closeness to God. So like here the example is of the wood and the fire. So wood, when it is wet, it takes time to burn, then the smoke comes and then the wood becomes a fire itself. So we cannot distinguish between the wood and the fire. So both become one. And then he explains about the highest attitude, Ekatvena. That is the supreme reality, Aham Brahmasmi. Ekatvena. There is no difference and everything is the Lord. So that is the Aham Brahmasmi state. The second attribute is Prithakvena, where we worship the different expressions of God, like in different forms, like God, Shiva, Ganesha, Vishnu, and knowing it is only divinity in all of them, and taking support of the different forms. This Prithakvena. And Bahuda Vishwato Mukam. He alone has his face everywhere. Wherever we look at him, whatever we speak, is only about him. So here the Pasurams of Andal, I just thought about it. I read a Pasuram in which when Andal looks at the sky, she sees that the clouds are the black curly hair of the Lord, and the blue sky is his body. So even when I was looking at the sky, when I read this and I was looking at the sky, I can't see anything. So I can see, I just can maybe thank the sun god or maybe the Vayu Bhagavan or whatever. So that everywhere, Kanbadellam is Krishna Narayana Mayam. So it is that state which is speaking about. Bahuda Vishwato Mukham. And vision and attitude, for that kind of a vision and attitude is required. So the divinity lies in the eyes of the beholder here. So in 16, I am alone. He explains about I am alone, I am there everywhere. I am the sacrifice, I am the yajna, I am the offering, I am the medicinal herbs, I am the Vedic mantras, and I am in all the ingredients. So he speaks about all the material things in which he is there. Like he spoke in the 7th chapter about I am in the whole universe, Prapancham. He spoke about many things. So the same thing he's speaking. And in the Shloka 17, he speaks about his relationship. I am the father of the world. I am the mother. The material cause as also the efficient cause. Like the Prakriti and Purusha, Shiva and Shakti. And there is no need to feel that I am an orphan, because when we look at it, it is Matrudevo. Pita and Mata are the Lord itself. So no need to feel and he is the Data, the giver. And he is taking care of the thousands of beings. So I am the Vedam. So I am the Om. He says I am the Om. So the essence of Vedas is conveyed through this Om, and he is in the Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharva Veda also. So this is what he explained in the 17th Shlokam, and in the 18th he goes out, he gives more pointers about his different facets of his personality. I am the Gati, the goal. I am the Bharta who nourishes you in the journey. I am the Prabhu, master. I am the boss of everyone, and nobody can break rules. So Sakshi is a witness of everything in this world, and he was a Nivasa, a home of all beings, Sharanam, refuge to all, friend, a well-wisher. He's a Prabhava, Pralaya, Sthanam, Nidhanam, storehouse of all results. Countless galaxies exist in him in an unmanifested form. He is the Bijam, seed of Bijam Avyayam, seed of every object. That is an indestructible seed. And in 19 he gives more pointers that he gives. I am the heat by becoming. I am the sun who gives the heat. Is an energy to sustain life is from that heat. I am the rain. And all those things, and Vigrahami and Kusrujayami, I am the drawer. I am the drawer and the releaser. You have to look at the subtler power in me to see things, to understand how things work. Then I am the Amritam, the drink of immortality. Mrityum, that is also an expression of God. That is the other name of life. Okay, then he speaks about the Sat and Asat, manifest and unmanifest is also me. Our thoughts are Sat, the samskaras are stored in us in an Asat or unmanifest form. So they come up when the situation arises. So in 20 he says that loving me with completeness and knowing me with completeness is very essential. Without that, by just doing the karma kanda portion, by doing just the rituals for the desires, or for fulfilling desires, or security, for protection, and they do the rituals for protection after death also, because they know that in Swarga there is no fear of old age or diseases. So they keep on doing the rituals for all these things. After the death also they are trying to plan things. So they keep on doing. So the God grants whatever desire. So ho sakta hai that all he will fulfill those desires. But it is more, all these desires are for sakama things only, worldly things, or such things after death, what is going to happen, and all those things. So this is all sakama upasana. They go to heaven and enjoy there. They also get heaven, or they will, whatever lokam they desire, they go to that place and enjoy there. Having enjoyed the vast heaven, after that all the Sheena Punya he uses. After all the Punyas are exhausted, they have to come. They come back to the Martya Lokam or Heenataram Vishanti. What Raviji said, even to the lower levels also. So there is no guarantee that we will be born as humans. We can go to the Heenataram Lokam, and it is like the Guruji has used that. It is like the shuttle service. You go, you do all the rituals, you collect a lot of punyam, and the punyam you ask for heaven, and then you go to heaven, and everything, all the punyam gets exhausted. Then again you are coming back, and again you are doing the same thing. So this chakram continues on and on unless and until we realize who is Bhagavan. So the moment we realize who is Bhagavan, he is not this body, he is not this Rupam we are seeing, he is in everything. When that Vishwato Mukam comes in us, that's when we will be able to get out of this cycle. So that is what is my understanding. So thanks a lot.
After so much of vibration she created, I need to the prayer. I have to think of what I need to speak, yeah, because she has given all the complete details.
Just joking. Okay, Hari. So I'll do a quick recap of section 3, slokas 22 to 34. So 22 to 29 is focused on Nishkama Bhaktas, and 30 to 34 is where Bhagavan glorifies the knowledge. So in verse 22, what Bhagavan says is those who sees him as same as themselves, and those that are always steadfast and dedicated to the Lord and dwelling on him. For such people, Bhagavan makes sure he takes care of their yoga, which is whatever people don't have, they get it from the Lord, and Shema, which is where Bhagavan will help retain what they have. So that's the central gist of verse 22. In 23, Bhagavan says there is no differentiation between the gods. Any devata that we worship is glorified. Even though other gods are worshipped with the same faith, the Bhagavan says it's like worshipping him alone. And 24, Bhagavan says he's the enjoyer, he's the giver, regardless of which Bhagavan we go to pray or we go to meditate. He's the one governing everything and distributing phalam, that's the fruits of the actions. Those who don't know me, those who don't know him and his true nature, they will continue to come back to the cycle of birth. So that's the gist of Slokam 24. Then we spoke about the different type of bhaktas, which is Vanda bhaktas, which where the bhaktas treat God as a means to achieve their goals and desires. Then Madhyama bhaktas, bhaktas who treat God as an end. And Uttama bhaktas are the one who have reached the ultimate or achieved the ultimate jnana. So in verse 25, Bhagavan says there are several who worship various gods, ancestors, spirits, but the Madhyama Bhaktas or the Sadhana Ishvara Nishkama Bhakta are the one who reaches me and ultimately get the jnana. In verse 26 and 27, Bhagavan emphasizes the importance of attitude more than the processes when we devotedly pray to Him. Those that are pure-minded with devotion and have zero expectations, He will accept any offerings. And it is important to do everything as an offering to Him. So we can say Karma Yogi is equal to Nishkama Bhakta. So that's the gist of verse 26 and 27. In verse 28, Bhagavan says that if we think about Him 24/7 to Ishvara Arpana, one will be freed from the actions that cause Papa and Punya, and one will do everything as Akarta Bhokta. And when you are a Karma Yogi, your mind becomes pure and you attain liberation. In verse 29, Bhagavan says he is impartial and willing to help one and all. He is not hateful towards anyone, and it is up to the individual to tap his grace. Whoever worships him as a Nishkama Bhakta, they are in him and he is in them. So that's the gist of Slokam 29. Moving on to the glorification of knowledge part, in verse 30, Bhagavan says, even if one is a sinner or has done many sins in the past, but still worships him with utmost devotion and faith, Bhagavan says he is the one who has decided to change his path and is also on the path to attain moksha and will get liberated. In Shlokam number 31, Bhagavan emphasizes the importance of staying on the path of dharma and says one who turns to the life of dharma will attain everlasting peace and will never perish. So Bhagavan made sure that whoever is devoted to him 24/7, he will make sure that he will never perish in his life. And people, on the contrary, people who are born in a family of atheists or tamasic guna or extremely materialistic and are selfishly and highly extrovert, even by surrendering to him, they will attain the highest spiritual goal. In Slokam number 33, Bhagavan quotes a few examples of the introvert Brahmin, or the one that is selflessly extrovert and works for Lokakshema. Bhagavan says that such people need to engage in worship because this world is full of dukkha. And finally, in verse number 34, Bhagavan concludes by asking his devotees to become a Tivra Mumukshu, where moksha is the ultimate goal, not to have any expectations, convert everything to worship of the Lord, surrender to the Lord, keep him as the ultimate goal, and keep moksha as the ultimate goal. So that's the quick review.
I think it's easy for me. Chapter 2, I think 2 Mahatmas given enough detail about chapter 2. Section 2, that's 16. Chapter 9, the second part of the middle part of the section 2. I think I started Bhagavad Gita only a few months back, though I wanted to learn quite some time, a few years. I was thinking of it, but this is in Singapore, Guruji is the one probably giving me these opportunities. So, but when I read the Bhagavad Gita, I think the one difference I try to make is that I try to get into the situation. I try to play as a role in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah? So, in this chapter, when I was reading it, I was standing in the place of Arjuna. I feel like Bhagavan is telling to me. That's the way I interpret. So, I'm not going into sloka by sloka, but I give more of my essence. I've written it by sloka, but I don't want to repeat that single time enough of the stuff. But the good teachers really use very strong word when they want to really emphasize certain things. That's why when I read the 11th sloka, I think the Muda is the one I was thinking of quite heavily. This is such a wonderful. It's best of everything, and why he uses the Muda. I think he's telling me that you are a stupid guy, you are really a fool. This is giving the strong message that you really move from your comfortable zone, like you know everything kind of things, his mindset, to think in altogether it's a completely different. Yeah, so you shallow thinking into the more what they call it as the deeper state of thoughts. In that part, I think in this sloka he also talks about the different gunas and how the individual gunas interpret the supreme power. So when I'm reading it, while understanding it, am I really in Tabo guna kind of personalities, or where I'm Rajo guna or Sattva guna? I'm getting confused actually. So there is an element of Muda is definitely in me. I'm still struggling to come out of it. When I start reading it, so Mahatma, I think they are wonderful people who have given the beautiful explanation. But when I was reading the second part where they talk about the Mahatma, the one thing which I really impressed on Kirtan, I think they use the word Kirtan as the mean of practicing the spiritual bhakti. I do get confused whether which is the right form of doing the to attain the absolute truth. What is the right form? Sometimes I feel like doing the prayers, daily chanting. Is this the right one, or it's more of meditations and getting into the other one? I do get confused on it. But when I started reading it, yeah, the second part of the middle part of in the Bhagavad Gita, it's a Bhakti Yoga, correct? I'm not very familiar, man. Correct me. Please help me out. Yeah, the Bhakti Yoga. Okay, he allows that. Okay, you can do the right daily chanting, and he was saying that yes, you hear the chanting, Shravana, Kirtana chanting, and ultimately as Smrana, correct? As Smrana is remembering the stuff. It's ultimately when I start reading that, Arpana is the most important, which Guruji always start. Ishvara Arpana, Ishvara Prasadam. This is the one I'm started thinking it. I went to the temple last week. When you go to Shangarpar, immediately I thought that do I need to do the Shangarpam, or should I say Lokashem? That's what the Guruji always says. Should I need to practice it? It's getting a big challenge for my wife, I know what you are talking about it. But the mind is going. I think that mind is getting from Shangalpan, your Gotram and your star into, should I go into the Lokashem? But still I said the Kotra and the Sangalpam, that's a different story. The later part of the 16th and 19th slogan is a more eye-opener for me, I think, when I was reading it. That's, yes, he said that is of everything. I think she has given all the details, and the Yajna, and the Agni, Pita, Mata, whatever, all the things is that. He said why he tells every. You could say that in simple word that I'm everything, guys, forget about it, but why he really breaks best of everything, and he started giving the things. Why? What's the purpose of is telling that story? Is telling that kind of detail. Where I come at that, okay, you as your soul, as Manikandan, as individual, you are the very, very, very tiny part of the entire things. Very, 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 very tiny part. The relationship, what I show to my families and other things, I think is the more of temporary nature. The ultimate nature is your tiny part is me. So you work hard on getting into my path, get a bit of detachment to your family. Then I started thinking of it. This week is more seriously I was thinking of it. How do I detach? Is it possible technically to detach from my family? It's a big challenge. Yes, it's a current attachment, bodily or worldly. That's what Guruji, when I look at the videos again, worldly attachment. Yes, it's a temporary nature. It's the separation is unavoidable. At some point of time, we have to separate. I started thinking of it. Okay, what I should do if I go before my wife, and if my wife go before. I'm seriously, I'm not joking. Seriously, I was thinking of it. What should I do? How do I build the relationship with my things? This is where when I was reading the Paramanatha, the Gita on the ocean, this is a very classic example. So two waves, when they started from the ocean, they start thinking that we are the neighboring waves and we are going to travel forever. But at some point of time, it has to vanish, and it has to merge with the ocean. So very good example. Easily I could personalize it and visualize it. Yeah, that's huge wave. It comes from long journey, so short period, and it moves out. I think that's a wonderful example. Personally, I felt. Then the last part he started about, the first part he was talking about more of non-believer of God, later called great Mahatma. The last one is more of Sakama Bhakta, it's more of, yes, I do follow. This is where practically I use this concept in my coaching with the people, the process and attitude. When you follow the process and your attitude is very bad, you good process follower, a really good material life, I work hard on material life, but I don't have a good attitude. It's all more personalized, selfish goal, more of tamogunam kind of personality. Yes, I still get the benefit, but it's seen as completely negative. Whether it's an office or anything, you do all, yeah, I've done good job, man, but still I'm not getting rewarded. That's because of that. I coach this one, use this concept with the few people without saying that I learned from Bhagavad. Yeah, so this is really seen as the negative. Those who follow the good attitude, but the process somehow they missed it. More of Rajoguna is for welfare of the world, or Sattvic Guna. This is entirely you don't expect anything. Good attitude, and you still don't follow the process. You're always seen as the positive, which I could see from this slogan and a few other slogans which I explained. But it's wonderful. You follow the process. You make sure that you follow the rituals, and also with a good attitude, Logashema. I think that's the more ultimate goal, which I'm seriously thinking of it. How do I move? Is it possible to move? Yes, it's possible. Is it doable right away? I don't think so. But at least start developing that thinking that, yeah, I need to get out of material life and then move the things. This when I start personalizing again. Yes, in my 20s, the major priority was clearly on Sakama Bhakta. I do go to temple, do the prayer, all things, but clearly with the material life. I want to get this, I want to get this one, family to be settled, earn money. It took nearly, I was talking to my friends, it said that, was Sakama Bhakta. It took 15 years for me to get out of that mindset. Now, I don't have a problem. Anytime I'm ready to go. I think last week I'm repeating what Guruji said. I have no problem. I have no fear. It's enough. So I tell my wife that I need only $2 per day for my survival. $60 I can earn anywhere in the world. So it's not a problem. And that's kind of mindset is moving, but it's taking quite some challenge. Quite some eye-opener for me personally. I'm not giving a lot of slogan by slogan, word by word meaning. That's done wonderful people, but I'm giving sharing of more my own interpretations. What's it called? Nithyasana? Internalize, right? Nithyasana. Okay, wonderful. I think that's my good learning.
On that point of Sakam, I didn't even know there was something wrong with it actually.
Yeah.
But it was through
I think that also will drop.
No,
Eventually,
the knowledge
Yes.
was not there. No?
Yeah,
It was good.
Because we are always
Praying to God was
great for
always a
great
good
for you,
thing.
jobs, great for
Very distinguished between Sakama and
Evolution.
This evolution is the right word. My father used to say me when I do, I want to get this mark. If I do that, then I want to Tirupati and things. He said, no, don't do that. It's not possible immediately. That's my song at this time. So it's not possible. But you you do your job. You go to, I'm the Hanuman devotee. By the way, this time I'm really hardcore Hanuman devotee. After reading Bhagavad Gita, I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but still, as of today, that's I'm still standing on that. My father used to say that don't get it that without giving enough explanation. No, don't ask anything. You do your duty. This is what your karma. This is what your stuff. You go there. Whatever the outcome is, leave it to him. though he was a pretty old man, so you can say anything, but I'm in 20s and I can't believe that. I didn't know anything wrong in it, and nobody said that is wrong.
Exactly.
So I followed, but after 15 years, I started realizing it. I think this is a really good eye opener, and thanks for giving this.
Nityam and Anityam, when you start thinking about what is the Nitya Vastu and Anitya Vastu, what is like two waves, they're all good, not going to be there. And all that things, when we start thinking later only, when our mind is a bit calm only, we start thinking about all these things. When we start thinking about all these things, that's when we realize, oh, what are we trying to follow?
Seriously, this week I started thinking of it. If my wife leaves earlier than me, what I should do? I don't know what she's going to do if I go early. I don't know about that. I have no one. And I do think that I'm not the person who, after reading this one, I'm not changing my kids. I think I have no power to change their path. But I have a responsibility of sharing what I'm learning with. I'm not the changer of the entire world. Yeah, except some here and there. I'm not the person who set the destiny before that, and I have no power in it. But I can share what I'm learning it to my kids and my friends and my surrounding people. But Logashem is the bottom line. I think that's mindset is I'm getting in. And thanks, it's wonderful. Thank you.
Now we are going to finish. Can we extend next week?
Yeah. Let's do that. Because Veda class we will not do. We'll just extend it.
Otherwise,
And maybe 1.5 hours we can just.
5 minutes is quite close to it. So.
This is the last one.
It's the last. So if anybody wants to do, bring it forward for next week. No. So I have section 3, which is 22 to 54. To me, section 3, it looked like an action plan. It's an essence. Everything that we covered in the beginning, up to verse 21, was more like tools and aids as to how to give effect to this action plan. This is how I do it. So I'll start with 9:22. This famous one on devoting Ananya Smriti and Brahma. So what he says is just devote everything to me and leave it to me, I will take care of it. Now it's not very easy to do that, but as we go forward and start trying it, then we will know. So there's a very humorous story. Since I have some time, I can take some liberties. So there is a guy who's fallen from a cliff. So he's hanging on and he's holding on to the branch. And he's shouting, is there someone to help me out? Is God there? So God says, I'm here to help you out. So he says, please help me, I'm going to drag you, so I'm going to fall down. So this guy says, Lord says, just let go, I'll take care of you. So he wonders and he hesitates. And the next thing he says is there someone else? So even at that moment, getting the trust. So though it says that leave everything to me, that's an attitude we need to get. What happens? Try it out, then we will know. Right? And again, the results may not be exactly the way you want. When he says yoga kshemam, it's more from a spiritual aspect rather than material aspect. You may say, this is what I want, but perhaps this is not what you need at this stage of life. It may come to you in another form. So again, prasada buddhi comes in, that if you start looking at everything that comes to you as something that's good for you, then naturally the approach will change. So again, it's an essence of what he says. Then from there we move to, how do we do this? Okay, he says, leave it to me, how do we do it? So you go to 9.27 where he says, dedicate everything to me. Whatever you do, examples like sleeping or eating or tapas that you do or the dharma that you do, leave it to me. Dedicate. So what does dedication mean? Again, he spoke about it in 3.30 earlier. All along we've been talking about it. And I think Raviji alluded to it last time. How do you make work a workshop? By linking it to a higher purpose. Now we have examples in Manikandan where they've interviewed people. For example, there was a janitor working in a hospital. And all he had to do is keep the bathrooms clean. So when they interviewed him, he was so passionate about what he was doing. Ultimately, the job looked so mundane. But he says, I am equally responsible for the hygiene in this hospital. Because if I don't do a good job, from here the germs will spread. So he linked what he was doing to a higher purpose. So So if we take that attitude and say everything that we are doing is linked to a higher purpose, then the dedication becomes almost automatic. It's by default. So that's how I interpret 9.27. Then again he says, is it so tough to do it? So 9.26 says, no, it's not so tough. Whether it's Patram, Pushpam, Palam, everything is okay. You don't have to go into anything elaborate. Just do it. That's about it. And then he concludes by saying that it's up to you. The effort that you make is up to you because I am the same, right? 9.29 he says, I am the same to everyone. My grace is like sunshine, open to all. But it's your self-effort that matters. So I can only tell you this, but it's up to you to see what you want to do. Right? So that's how he done. Then in between he gives a warning. Because he says, earlier back in 2.42 to 44, so he talks about those people. There are a lot of ritualistic things in Vedas and they do promise a lot of things. But if we get drawn into that and get obsessed with that and get stuck to it, then we will not come out. So he does give a warning that don't go into that, and that's where I interpreted verses 28 to 23 to 25 saying that don't get stuck into it. Just remember whatever you do ultimately comes to me. So why go for this when you can ultimately take me as well? So don't devote to all these small things. Then finally some people can ask, does it apply to me? Am I worthy of doing these things? So he's saying I do all these things, does it apply to me? So there he says, you look at all these verses that follow, you look at 9.30, he says, the sinner, whoever is a sinner, but by deeds, because 30 talks about the work that you do, the actions that you do, if you're a sinner, the minute you decide that you're going to reform, you can come to me. Maybe the vilest sinner. I think in 4.36 also he has spoken about it. He says, by the raft of jnana you will cross over, even if you're the vilest sinner ever. And then we say that there are other factors that are instrumental. What are those factors? Environment, it could be where you're born or the environment you grew up with, or it could be the inherent gunas in you, maybe emotional, or maybe you're born of tamasic or rajasic tendencies. So 9.32 and talks about all these different kinds of environment, different kinds of attitude one can have. So the conclusion he says is, despite where you are, whatever attitude you have, wherever you are born, whatever environment you have, as long as you made up your mind and you start following this, you will come to me. That's for sure. That's the assurance he gives. Then we go to how do we do that? So 9.34 kind of gives you the action plan. This entire summary of what he wants us to do. And what does it say? He says, first, you make me my goal. Right? Finally, he says, I am your goal. But this he says, go on a spiritual path. Don't worry about worldly things. Decide that I'm going to be the goal and I'm going to move forward to it. And the next thing he says is surrender to me. So once you surrender, that's when the equation starts. Because then, you get two different people altogether. Then he says, fill your mind with me. Totally be devoted to fill your mind with me. And one of the things we do is Prasada Buddhi and Arthana Buddhi, where we always think of the Lord. Do everything as a sacrifice to me. So Arthana Buddhi. And then be always united and linked with me. Which means when you think of the Lord at all times, you see him in everything. This is what all the other things talk about. And what will be the effect of all these things? You will come to me. You will become a jivan. So in this life, you can come to me and be free from all emotional attachments. You can enjoy that. So that's kind of the action plan that he says, concluding that this is what you do and you do.
So I'll close this.
Yeah. Anyone? No, we had Ramanathan ji, who's